Russia's military strength is no laughing matter, and their freshly acquired weaponry makes them a more serious adversary. Russia's readiness to develop inventive answers to rising military challenges is demonstrated by the recently unveiled superweapons. These documents reveal information on Russia's defense industrial capabilities. The Russian military secured a $300 billion agreement with weapons manufacturers in the industry to build weapons and develop high-tech armament by 2027. The Army receives new planes, tanks, ships, and submarines every year, and 2022 will be no exception. So in today's video, we'll take a look at some of the country's most significant military acquisitions in the coming years. So stay tuned. Hypersonic missile. First off, we will be looking at the MiG-31. The Mikoyan MiG-31 was built as home defense fighter during the Cold War. The long-range, two-seat supersonic aircraft, codenamed Foxhound by NATO, has preserved a certain mystique in the West, in part due to the fact that much remains unknown about all of its capabilities. It had its first flight in September 1975 and was intended to perform well in all types of weather. The aircraft, which is based on the MiG-25 Foxbat interceptor and features state-of-the-art digital avionics, was never exported by the Soviet Union, and the majority of the more than 500 produced are still in service today with the Russian Air Force, with another 30 serving with the Kazakhstan Air Force. It was recently reported that Russian military has improved the MiG-31 and has equipped the home defense fighter with hypersonic missiles, making the aircraft a very formidable threat. Despite the fact that the plane is from the 1970s, Russia has a long history of retaining old aircraft designs by incorporating new armaments and systems, as seen by the MiG-31BM modification from a decade ago. The enhancements included phased array radar and network-centric battle control. The fighter's in-flight equipment will be completely replaced, and the combat plane will be inspected for flaws and corrosion. Portions that could account for 15 to 50% of the total weight will be replaced. The canopy of the fighter, as well as its wiring and rubber parts, will be completely overhauled. The upgrading of the MiG-31 high-altitude fighter interceptors will increase the efficiency of their missions, notably in guarding Russia's northern borders amid rising interest in the Northern Sea route by other nations. As part of the refurbishment, the plane will have fly-by-wire, semi-automatic, and computer-generated control system. Advanced technologies will also be used to replace onboard radio electronic equipment. In addition, every piece of onboard equipment in the MiG-31, including wiring, rubber fittings, and the canopy, will be replaced with newer models. It may be operated in semi-active radar homing, or SARH, mode for initial acquisition and mid-course upgrades. The Cold War-era warplane was meant to shoot down large, fast targets such as the American SR-71 Blackbird, the B-1 Lancer bomber, and the B-52 Stratofortress. The KH-47 Kinzhal Dagger missile, which can be seen on the MiG's belly, is one of the most spectacular improvements. The KH-47 has an estimated range of 1,240 miles. The missile can carry either a 1,100-pound fragmentation payload or a 500 kiloton nuclear warhead, making it 33 times more destructive than Hiroshima's Fat Man bomb. It travels at over 10 times the speed of sound, about 2 miles per second, and maintains a flatter trajectory than a conventional ballistic missile, giving air defenses little time to respond. The Kinzhal is believed to be capable of precise assaults, as well as using a radar seeker to track moving targets. During Moscow's Victory Day parade in 2018, the missile made its first public appearance. For the first time, in June 2021, Russia sent 2 interceptor planes capable of carrying the Kinzhal hypersonic missile to Syria for war simulations. So why the MiG-31? The Kinzhal must be launched from a high-altitude plane traveling at great speeds. The MiG-31, a Mach 3 capable air defense interceptor, was chosen to carry the missile for this reason. Only 10 to 20 MiG-31Ks have been equipped with the Kinzhal missiles. T-14 Armata tanks. The entire project was viewed as a tremendous technological leap forward for the Soviet-era military hardware designs, and the T-14 is considerably different from previous Soviet or Russian tank platforms from the bottom up. If it ever makes it to a battlefield, Russia's new T-14 Armata might be a monster. It has a lower profile than the American and Western tanks to make it more difficult to strike. The 3-person crew sits in another armored compartment at the front of the tank, away from the 125mm smoothbore gun and ammo storage, which is an intriguing design feature. They rely on an autoloader to function. This tank weighs roughly around 55 tons and has a peak speed of 80 km per hour. The T-14 additionally has 7 road wheels instead of 6 that were standard on practically all prior Soviet and even current Russian MBTs throughout the Cold War. The Armata T-14's profile isn't the only thing that distinguishes it from its predecessors. Its unmanned turret, which contains a remotely operated 125mm 2A82 1M smoothbore main gun with completely automated loading, is one of its most revolutionary features. There are 45 rounds of ammo in the turret's magazine, but the main gun can also launch laser-guided missiles. The 2A82 125mm cannon may be upgraded to the 2A83 152mm gun, and the T-14 can be equipped with supplementary weapons, such as the Cord 12.7mm machine gun or the PKTM 7.62mm machine gun. The MBT's capacity to keep its crew safe is just as crucial as its offensive capabilities. The T-14 shines in this area as well. The low silhouette of this tank decreases enemy fire exposure and increases the safety and survivability of the 3-man crew. The tank commander, driver, and gunner are housed in a crew compartment in an armored capsule at the front of the hull, separated from the automatic loader and ammunition storage in the middle of the tank. According to analyst reports, the crew compartment is built of composite materials and covered by layered armor that can resist a direct strike from practically any sort of projectile now available, including subcaliber and cumulative rounds. Each of the tanks is expected to cost $4 million. That may not seem like a lot, but given that Russians intend to build hundreds of them, you can see how that $4 million may quickly add up to a large price tag. The T-14 Armata is a tank with a twist. It's designed to serve as a general-purpose basis for a new armored personnel carrier and other combat vehicles. Those vehicles are unlikely to be available anytime soon, but when they are fully operational, we expect them to be monsters. Sarmat. Russia is actively developing the RS-28 Sarmat, a liquid-fueled intercontinental ballistic missile. The RS-28 Sarmat began development in the early 2000s to replace Russia's outdated SS-18 Satan ICBM. The Sarmat is one of 6 new strategic weapons under development in Russia. With 50 missiles on order, the RS-28 was supposed to go into service in 2018. In 2020, successful launch tests were completed, and by February 2021, preparations for flight testing at the Severo-Yenisei test site were well underway. According to Colonel General Sergei Karakayev, the commander of the Strategic Missile Forces, the new missile should enter service in 2022 with the 62nd Missile Division headquartered in Izur, where new facilities to store the missiles are being built. The Sarmat is a liquid-fueled 3-stage missile with a range of 18,000 kilometers and a launch weight of 208.1 tons. The missile has a length of 35.3 meters and a diameter of 3 meters. The Sarmat is classified as a heavy ICBM that can carry a 10-ton payload and a number of warhead types. The Sarmat is expected to fulfill many of the same functions as the RS-36M it is intended to replace. It will be substantially bigger than the existing Russian ICBMs like the RS-24 and their American rivals. To get beyond ballistic missile defenses, it should be able to carry a variety of payloads, including a combination of re-entry vehicles and decoys. The most obvious distinction between the Sarmat and its potential to strike targets through a fractional orbit is that it may approach the United States via the South Pole, avoiding existing missile detection and defense systems. In the future, the Sarmat might potentially transport the Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle. According to Russian media, Sarmat can allegedly carry up to 10 massive warheads, 16 smaller ones, a mix of warheads and countermeasures, or hypersonic boost glide vehicles, according to Russian media. For the US military, the Sarmat's ability to carry a variety of re-entry vehicles, including hypersonic avant-garde gliders, is particularly worrisome. Putin had previously stated that this ICBM could penetrate any defensive system on the globe, which was interpreted as subliminal warning to the US and its Western allies. What are your thoughts on all of the new and updated weapons stated earlier in the video? And when do you think we'll get to see the T-14 Armata tanks in action? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below.